work here for 10 years, 15 years, and then I'm going to go, have my ranch down in Mexico or have my ranch down in Guatemala. I know this other dishwasher that I used to work at Trattorias and Patago with. He had worked there for, I think, 12 years. That was his sentence, he would say. And then he literally got in his car and drove all the way back to Guatemala. So shout out to him. So now that we clarified that bathroom was indeed a warehouse employee bathroom, we can move on. Shout out to Chef David Posey. He's been super, super supportive of the show, reposting whenever he gets a chance, and he just had his baby. And I feel blessed. You talk to a person and they tell you about their lives, they let you in, and then 2-3 days later they have a baby, So I feel like I'm part of his life. You know what I mean? So shout out to him and Anna. I'll come see you soon whenever you guys open those doors again. Chef Scott Davis sent me a nice story today. He said, very inspirational, thank you, David Sucio. And then, I hit him up. I said, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you for being part of the Sucio mob. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm a legend yet, but I'm trying, bro. All right? And then shout out to Burrata Boy, BURRATA_boy, BOI. Hit me up. Loves the podcast. Then he said, hey, Chef, heard on the pod that you were taking requests for future guests on the show. Would love to hear the come-up/young chef stories of Corey Lee. Legendary. I'd love to have him on. Kyle Connaughton. Would love to have him on. John Shields. I missed you last time, but I'll get you. I'll get you soon. Evan and Sarah Rich. Jordan Kahn. Would love to do Jordan Kahn. He has actually a very successful food podcast that I did not know about until I started mine. So there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't know about, guys. You need to make sure that you're on top of it. Ian Scaramuzza, CDC at Melise. I'd love to talk to him, knowing that Chef John came from Melise, Chef Kat came from Melise, Howard Coe came from Melise, Eloy Perez came from Melise. These guys were legendary cooks at the restaurant at Meadowood back in the day when I first started. Ignacio Matos from Extella, I would love to have him on. Dan Barron and Mike Bagali from what's it called? Alinea in Chi-Town. So and also we got Nico Moratore. I've hit him up before, or I've shouted him out before, should say. He started an Instagram account called Stations from Above for the viewing pleasure of food industry peeps and those who enjoy tight organization and aesthetically pleasing photos. So if you have any photos of your station, prep, expo, pantry, garmager, pastry, bread, bar, service station, whatever, please send them my way. Or take pictures of your stations from above and send them to me. I'll feature them on the account. And please share with your friends if you can. I think this is a fun and interesting idea for fellow cooks, chefs, and industry professionals. You goddamn right it is. All right, Nico. So thank you, Nico, for that. Again, that's Stations from Above, at Stations from Above on Instagram. So if you have any photos that you'd like to share, let me know. Shout out to a woman named Victoria. On her Instagram is Vika Talks. She focuses on forward thinking and actually has a lot of male clients looking to better themselves through a woman's perspective, And she does a lot of good things for men and women equally. And she's on a European tour. She's been in Paris. I think she's going to Spain. So look out for her. She's blowing up. And she's going to be one of those people in a few years that you're going to know her name, regardless of if you're into that or not. I got a funny little thing here. I remember I talked about the OAD, right, last week. I get a Ron McKinley, chef. He sends me a message, says, well said about the OAD on your latest podcast. What a fucking Muppet. Very true, guys. Very true. What a Muppet. And, I talked about last week how you're a fan of something and then all of a sudden sometimes you can't be because of what idiots are saying, right? So, with that said, recently, I believe DaBaby, DABABY, who makes great music and has come up in a very quick way in the rap game and is probably one of the most successful rappers out there quickly. And at the festival Rolling Loud, he said some really disrespectful shit about HIV and AIDS and the LGBTQ community. And once again, man, it's like, I like your music, bro. Don't put me in a situation where I don't feel right listening to your fucking music. That pisses me off. But he did write a little apology. He goes, social media moves so fast that people want to demolish you before you even have the opportunity to grow, educate, and learn from your mistakes. As a man who has had to make his own way from very difficult circumstances, having people I know publicly working against me, knowing that what I needed was education on these topics and guidance, had been challenging. I appreciate the many people who came to me with kindness, who reached out to me privately to offer wisdom, education, and resources. That's what I needed, and it was received. I want to apologize to the LGBTQ plus community for the hurtful and triggering comments I made. Again, I apologize for my misinformed comments about HIV and AIDS, and I know education on this is important. Love to all. God bless DaBaby. So, he's trying to make amends. And honestly, people make mistakes, man. And I know all of us, every single one of us has a dark side. We got a side that we don't like, that maybe comes out sometimes, maybe at the wrong moments, and I think it's interesting. I was talking to Logic Thompson about this because, there's some people that have darkness in their lives, and I think everybody does, no matter from what walk of life you come from. There's almost no such thing as a perfect life, right? Everybody has problems. And that's something that I've realized here about, just hanging out with these older folk who are retired, right? Who I tend to cook for, and whether retired or not, you will always have problems. Okay. So I think this trajectory of like, well, you get a job, you build up your retirement, and then you move on. And once you retire, you'll be happy. How many times have you gone on a bus and a guy's retired and he's driving a bus or working as a lunch lady or doing something? I don't ever want to put myself in a situation where I retire and then do something that I don't love just to have to make money, or in this situation when you have enough money and you're sort of well off, you have everything, all your ducks in a row, you still have problems. So I think this narrative of like, you need to hustle and make it, and then once you get all the money, all your stress is going to go away. Happiness comes from you, within you. Right? There's nothing that money is going to do. There's nothing that companionship from your lover is going to do. Right? It might help a little bit. It might take the stress away. Right? But I had this theory when I finally went to Europe. I was like, I don't need to have money to travel well. Right? As long as you have money for the airplane ticket, like, I would go be broke anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something that you can find to do. You don't have to go stay at the best hotels. You don't have to have all this luxury, all right? Take chances. Go out. Sleep on the ground. During this road trip, I'm going to be sleeping in my Camaro a lot. All right, let me just tell you that. Because, you know, I don't know what the future holds, right? I can't just be blowing money on hotel rooms like it's going out of style. You know what I mean? So, just got a message back from Lissamireles. I did a podcast with her recently that she'll be featuring at some point. I'll let you know when it comes out. But I asked her to be on the podcast. She said yes. So I think during this trek to Texas, or on my way through Texas back to California, I'll stop in and have her on the podcast. So once I get these dates solidified, I will let you guys know. That way I can plan accordingly. I'd like to do at least a podcast a day, if not 2. I find that 3 is challenging. And after having one meaningful conversation, it's hard to go and have another meaningful conversation, and then the third meaningful conversation is like, it's tough. You know, your brain becomes mush. You can't communicate properly. So I've learned, you know, it's kind of like when you're a cook and you're like, no, I'll work, 16 hours and only sleep a little bit. I promise you that your performance and the quality of your work will rise if you're well rested. Resting well is something that I've always struggled with. I can never get to bed on time. It's always like 2 a.m., 1 a.m. So, that kind of stuff kind of wears on you. But I want to do 2 podcasts a day. I'm also going to be driving about, maximum 8 hours. But still, that's a lot of driving. I did it from here to Denver, and I can do it. If the car has enough gas, I can do it all in one pull. I don't have any issues driving. I think I could drive like a good 12 hours without getting exhausted. Obviously, it's not it's not good for your legs or your blood flow. You gotta get out sometimes. And I meant to shout him out last week because it was his birthday. I believe it was on the 23rd July. Ivan, my cousin Ivan Rosas, shout out to him. Truck driver by trade, badass motherfucker by night, you know what I mean? So shout out to him and his dog. Griff, I believe is the name. I could be wrong. I think I'm just naming Griff. The dog looks like an inmate, all right? It's got muscles and shit. It's all built, It's one of the scariest dogs I've ever been around. But shout out to Ivan. He is the brother of Natalie Rosas, who is my cousin also, and was on the podcast with Manny Valerio, her husband, and they both tattoo Sovereign Gallery in Greenwich, Connecticut. If you guys ever want any crazy, well-detailed tattoos, he does a great job. He's done my whole right arm, So I can't wait to see them while I'm in Connecticut. I'll probably visit Rhode Island, but not for that long because I got to drive all the way back to California. So I'm really not trying to drive further away from California before I go back to it, right? And as I said before, I don't even have an apartment right now. All right, I am basically living at this ranch. Lived in Palm Springs for the guy I work for now, right? In a beautiful space in a golf course, right? Right on hole number 18. I mean, it's a badass place. Hot tub, pool, whatever. But I have no apartment right now. I have no home, and it's always been the way it feels for me because Connecticut, where I grew up, I love it, but I don't consider it home. I consider Puerto Rico home, but to be honest, I've never lived there, right? I've only been on summers or a couple weeks here and there to visit family. So it's a lot different when you're the outsider. Obviously, everybody treats you with a little bit of respect. But at the end of the day, you can only take so much of sucio. You know what I mean? So I try to spare people because I know my energies is pretty high. And some people, they don't want